On a quiet New Year's Day in 2014, a seemingly ordinary gathering of local rappers in Columbus, Georgia, would descend into a nightmare of unimaginable cruelty. What began as a friendly freestyle rap battle would spiral into a confrontation that would shock the nation and leave seasoned investigators questioning the very depths of human depravity. The central figure in this harrowing tale is Brielle Saunders, a young woman whose talent and confidence on the mic would unwittingly ignite a spark of rage in three men: Robert Johnson, Katori Glover, and Joey Garin. These three individuals, each carrying their own troubled histories, would converge that fateful night, their shared need for dominance and recognition colliding in the most horrific of ways. As we delve into the details of this case, we must brace ourselves for the uncomfortable truths that lie within. How does a contest of words and skill devolve into an act of such unimaginable violence? And how does a survivor, outnumbered and overpowered, defy all odds and live to tell the tale? This is a story that will challenge our understanding of the human condition, forcing us to confront the depths of cruelty and the remarkable resilience of the human spirit. Join us as we unravel this harrowing true crime narrative, exploring the egos and entitlement that fueled the attack, the courage of a survivor who refused to be silenced, and the pursuit of justice that would demand accountability. It is a story that is not easy to hear, but one that we must all understand, for it holds the power to shed light on the very questions we can no longer ignore. Welcome to True Crime Tales HQ, our esteemed viewers. Before we dive deeper into this tragic and haunting case, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more true crime stories. Hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. Your support helps us continue to bring these stories to light. Now, let's get back to the story. From the moment she could first hold a microphone, Brielle Saunders' life had been intertwined with the rhythmic power of words and music. Growing up in the vibrant city of Columbus, Georgia, Brielle's earliest memories were filled with the soulful melodies of her father, a gifted gospel musician who instilled in her an unwavering appreciation for the transformative nature of artistic expression. As Brielle blossomed from a precocious child into a confident young woman, her passion for music only continued to grow, eventually leading her to the captivating world of freestyle rap battles. In this predominantly male-dominated sphere, Brielle's talent and unshakable self-assurance quickly set her apart from the crowd, earning her a reputation as one of the most formidable lyrical artists in the region. With each rhyme she spun and each challenge she conquered, Brielle's star began to rise, her name becoming synonymous with the grit and determination that defined her approach to the craft. Yet, for Brielle, rap was never merely a means to personal glory, it was a conduit through which she could inspire and uplift her community, using her voice to shatter the barriers that so often confined women in the world of hip-hop. Brielle's confidence was not born of arrogance, but rather a deep-rooted belief in her own abilities and a refusal to be silenced. She approached each freestyle battle with a sense of purpose, her words carrying the weight of a lifetime of overcoming obstacles and defying the expectations placed upon her. It was this unwavering spirit that drew others to Brielle, her charisma and talent captivating audiences and earning her the respect of her peers. Yet, beneath the veneer of her public persona, Brielle was a complex and multifaceted individual, driven by a profound sense of purpose and a desire to use her platform to make a lasting impact. She dreamed of one day opening a performing arts center, where underprivileged youth could hone their creative talents and find their own voices, just as she had. Brielle's vision extended far beyond the confines of the rap battle stage, her ambitions rooted in a deep-seated belief in the transformative power of art and the importance of uplifting and empowering marginalized communities. It was this very spirit, this unwavering determination to succeed and to inspire, that would ultimately lead Brielle to that fateful gathering on New Year's Day, where her talent and confidence would unwittingly ignite a spark of rage in three men whose own troubled histories and fragile egos would collide in the most horrific of ways. As we delve deeper into the details of this harrowing case, we must first take the time to truly understand Brielle Saunders, a young woman whose dreams and aspirations were cruelly cut short, but whose indomitable spirit would ultimately become a beacon of hope in the face of unspeakable darkness. While Brielle Saunders' story is one of unwavering spirit and unfulfilled dreams, the men who would ultimately shatter her life's trajectory each carried their own complex histories, tales of trauma, resentment, and a desperate need for dominance that would collide in the most horrific of ways. Let us first turn our attention to Robert Johnson, a young man whose early life had been marred by a disturbing pattern of violence and sexual aggression. At just 13 years old, Johnson had already been convicted in juvenile court of forcing an 8-year-old girl to perform oral sex, a chilling precursor to the depravity that would later unfold. This act of predatory behavior, rooted in a warped sense of entitlement and a complete disregard for the autonomy of others, would foreshadow the twisted mindset that would drive Johnson's actions on that fateful night. Next, we have Cattory Glover, a man whose outward persona of a cool and funny individual belied a deep-seated anger and need for control. Glover's own history included a previous conviction for simple battery, stemming from an incident in which he had thrown a fan at his wife and slapped her, a disturbing display of domestic violence that hinted at the volatile nature lurking beneath the surface. Finally, there was Joey Guerin, a man whose criminal record included charges for possession of marijuana with the intent to distribute. Guerin's involvement in the drug trade suggested a willingness to engage in illicit activities, a trait that would prove instrumental in the horrific events that unfolded. Additionally, Guerin's presence on the night of the attack, despite being out on bond for the drug charges, highlighted a disregard for the law and a lack of concern for the consequences of his actions. As we delve deeper into the backgrounds of these three men, a troubling pattern emerges: a shared history of violence, a sense of entitlement, and an inability to handle rejection or perceived slights. These factors, combined with the volatile environment of the freestyle rap battle, would create a perfect storm of aggression and depravity, propelling the perpetrators to commit an act of unimaginable cruelty. It is crucial that we understand the mindsets and motivations of these individuals, not to excuse their actions, but to shed light on the complex web of societal and personal factors that can contribute to such heinous crimes. By examining the roots of their behavior, we may uncover valuable insights that can inform our efforts to prevent such tragedies from occurring in the future. The air crackled with the electric energy of the freestyle rap battle as Brielle Saunders and her fellow artists gathered at the familiar Party House on Garden Drive to showcase their formidable skills. This was Brielle's domain, a stage where her exceptional talent and commanding presence had earned her the respect and admiration of the local hip-hop community. As the battle commenced, Brielle effortlessly commanded the attention of the crowd, her lyrical prowess and unshakable confidence leaving her competitors in awe. With each passing round, Brielle's rhymes grew sharper, her flow more seamless, and her stage presence more captivating, a display of raw talent that would soon ignite a spark of rage in the hearts of three men whose own fragile egos and need for dominance would spiral out of control. Cattory Glover, accompanied by his friends Robert Johnson and Joey Guerin, watched from the sidelines, their eyes burning with a jealous intensity as Brielle continued to outshine them. Glover, in particular, seemed unable to stomach the sight of a woman so thoroughly upstaging him and his companions, his anger and resentment boiling just beneath the surface. Unable to accept the humiliation of being bested by Brielle's superior skills, Glover made a calculated move, approaching the young woman with an offer of a drink, a gesture that, on the surface, appeared benign, but was in fact the first step in a sinister plan to exact their twisted revenge. As Brielle sat in her car, the three men suddenly descended upon her, their demeanors shifting from cordial to predatory in an instant. Glover, Johnson, and Guerin pulled out their handguns, pressing the cold steel against Brielle's head as they uttered the chilling command, "Drive." In that horrifying moment, the friendly gathering had been transformed into a nightmare, as Brielle found herself kidnapped and at the mercy of these three men, their twisted desire for control and retribution overriding any semblance of humanity. Brielle's pleas for mercy fell on deaf ears as the perpetrators drove her to an abandoned trailer park off Far Road, a desolate location where the true depths of their depravity would be revealed. Ordering the young woman to strip naked in the bitter cold, the men proceeded to subject her to a prolonged and unimaginably brutal assault, taking turns raping and sodomizing her with the very handguns they had used to force her compliance. Brielle's cries for help were met with only laughter and sadistic pleasure, as her attackers seemed to revel in her suffering, passing her around like a piece of cake and reveling in the agonizing sounds of her torment. The men's actions were not driven by passion or desire, but by a twisted need to dominate and destroy, a sickness that had festered within them for far too long. Throughout the ordeal, Brielle's indomitable spirit refused to be extinguished, even as her body was ravaged by the unimaginable cruelty of her captors. As the men attempted to dispose of their victim, dousing her and her car with gasoline and setting it ablaze, Brielle summoned the last vestiges of her strength to roll on the ground, extinguishing the flames that threatened to consume her. Battered, burned, and bleeding, Brielle watched in horror as her attackers took aim, lining up like gunslingers in a twisted Western showdown. But even as the bullets rained down, Brielle refused to surrender, using the last of her energy to find cover and cry out for help, her voice a defiant refusal to be silenced. It was a testament to Brielle's sheer force of will that she survived the onslaught, her body broken but her spirit unbroken, a beacon of resilience in the face of unimaginable darkness. As we bear witness to the horrific details of this crime, we are confronted with the stark reality that the human capacity for cruelty knows no bounds, and yet, Brielle's story reminds us that the capacity for courage and survival is equally boundless. As the horrifying details of the attack on Brielle Saunders began to unfold, the Columbus, Georgia, police force launched an intensive investigation, determined to bring the perpetrators to justice and uncover the full extent of their twisted crimes. Leading the charge was the seasoned detective Sarah Wilkins, a veteran of the force known for her unwavering dedication and her keen eye for detail. Assembling a team of the department's finest investigators, Wilkins immediately descended upon the abandoned trailer park off Far Road, the desolate scene of the heinous assault. With an almost surgical precision, the detectives combed through the area, meticulously collecting every scrap of evidence that could help them piece together the harrowing sequence of events. From the discarded shell casings that marked the locations of the shootings to the traces of gasoline that had been used in the failed attempt to incinerate Brielle, no detail was left uncovered. As the investigation progressed, Wilkins and her colleagues worked tirelessly, interviewing witnesses and canvassing the surrounding neighborhoods, desperate to find any scrap of information that could lead them to the men responsible for this unspeakable crime. And it was through these painstaking efforts that a crucial break in the case began to emerge. One by one, the investigators managed to track down individuals who had been present at the original freestyle rap battle, each providing a unique perspective on the events that had transpired that fateful night. Witnesses recounted the palpable tension that had filled the air as Brielle's exceptional talent had repeatedly outshone her male counterparts, singling out Cat Ori Glover, Robert Johnson, and Joey Guerin as the men who had grown increasingly agitated and confrontational as the battle progressed. Armed with these eyewitness accounts, the detectives turned their attention to the perpetrators themselves, determined to uncover any additional evidence that could tie them to the crime. It was during this phase of the investigation that a truly chilling revelation came to light. The three men had, in their arrogance and twisted sense of entitlement, actually boasted about their heinous actions to various acquaintances, their own incriminating statements providing the investigators with the damning proof they needed. Forensic analysis of the crime scene further corroborated the witness testimonies, with DNA evidence and ballistic reports conclusively linking Glover, Johnson, and Guerin to the kidnapping, rape, and attempted murder of Brielle Saunders. The sheer breadth of the evidence gathered by the investigative team was staggering, each new discovery fueling their determination to ensure that these men faced the full weight of the law. Throughout the arduous investigation, Detective Wilkins and her colleagues remained steadfast in their pursuit of justice, driven by a deep-seated desire to honor Brielle's remarkable resilience and to ensure that her voice, so nearly silenced by the brutality of her attackers, would be heard and amplified in the halls of the courtroom. It was a testament to the unwavering dedication of these law enforcement professionals that the perpetrators were ultimately apprehended and brought to account for their heinous crimes, a crucial step in the long and difficult journey towards healing and justice for Brielle and her loved ones. As the investigation unfolded, the true scale of the perpetrator's depravity became increasingly clear, shattering the illusion that such acts of cruelty could ever be justified or excused. The dogged determination of the investigative team, combined with the overwhelming evidence they had gathered, would ensure that these men faced the full consequences of their actions, paving the way for a trial that would captivate the nation and demand accountability for the unspeakable horrors inflicted upon Brielle Saunders. In the wake of the horrific attack on Brielle Saunders, the legal system braced itself for a high-stakes courtroom battle that would captivate the nation and demand the full measure of justice for the young woman's harrowing ordeal. The arrests of Katori Glover, Robert Johnson, and Joey Garin sent shockwaves through the Columbus, Georgia, community. The severity of the charges, including kidnapping, rape, and attempted murder, underscoring the gravity of their crimes. Faced with the overwhelming evidence gathered by the dogged investigative team, the perpetrators found themselves with little room to maneuver, their arrogant attempts to evade responsibility ultimately crumbling under the weight of the prosecution's case. As the legal proceedings commenced, the tension in the courtroom was palpable, the air thick with a somber anticipation. Leading the prosecution was the formidable district attorney, Emily Garrison, a seasoned veteran known for her unwavering determination and her ability to methodically dismantle even the most elaborate defenses. Garrison wasted no time in laying out the timeline of events, meticulously piecing together the horrifying sequence that had unfolded on that fateful night.
She had gunshots to her abdomen. They had to remove part of her intestine. She had burns in her chest and abdomen. She had gunshots in her leg. She was shot all up and down her body. She had vaginal and anal tears. She was dying, and they had to get her into surgery at the emergency room right away.
With each piece of evidence presented, the DNA samples, the ballistic reports, the chilling witness testimonies, the case against Glover, Johnson, and Garin grew increasingly airtight, the perpetrators' arrogant attempts to downplay or justify their actions proving to be little more than futile grasps at straws. The most pivotal moment of the trial, however, came when Brielle Saunders herself took the stand, her quiet strength and unwavering resolve captivating the courtroom. As she recounted the terror of her kidnapping and the agonizing details of the assault, the jurors sat in stunned silence, visibly shaken by the raw emotion and resilience of her words. In the face of such overwhelming evidence, the defense's arguments crumbled, their attempts to portray the perpetrators as mere products of a broken system ringing hollow in the wake of the prosecution's scathing condemnation of their actions.
Nothing that I say am I suggesting that she's to blame. Now there's some things I have to point out about her testimony, but at no time am I suggesting she's to blame. And in fact, I will submit to you right now that my client, Robert Johnson, is to blame for a lot of the stuff that happened to her. And I will go ahead and tell you, I am not going to stand before you and ask you to find him not guilty of each and every count of this indictment. Because there is clear evidence that my client is guilty of some of the charges in this indictment.
It was clear that Glover, Johnson, and Garin had not been driven by circumstance, but by a toxic combination of entitlement, rage, and a complete disregard for the humanity of their victim. As the trial reached its climax, the presiding judge, Honorable Judith Wilkinson, delivered a scathing rebuke of the three men, her words cutting through the courtroom like a shard of ice. "Your crimes," she declared, "are not the result of societal ills or personal hardships, but of a conscious choice to inflict unimaginable suffering upon an innocent young woman. You have forfeited your right to walk freely among us, and it is the judgment of this court that you be condemned to the harshest sentences allowed by law." With those words, Glover, Johnson, and Garin were sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole, a fitting punishment for the unspeakable acts they had committed. As the gavel fell, a collective sigh of relief and vindication swept through the courtroom, the knowledge that these men would never again be free to terrorize another soul providing a small measure of solace to Brielle and her loved ones. The legal process had run its course, but the echoes of Brielle's courage and the condemnation of her attackers would continue to reverberate, a stark reminder that the pursuit of justice, no matter how difficult, is a fundamental pillar of a civilized society. It was a victory, however bittersweet, that would offer a glimmer of hope to all those who had been shaken by the depths of human cruelty on display in this harrowing case. In the aftermath, the true measure of the impact began to unfold, a devastating ripple effect that would reverberate through Brielle's life and the lives of those closest to her. For Brielle, the physical scars were only the beginning of her long journey towards healing. The mental and emotional toll of the trauma was immense, her once vibrant spirit dimmed by the weight of the violence. Haunted by the memories, Brielle struggled to reclaim her sense of safety and autonomy. Yet, her indomitable spirit refused to be extinguished. Driven by determination, she embarked on a journey of healing and resilience, seeking solace in the unwavering support of her family and community. As news spread, the community was shaken, the once vibrant scene now shrouded in grief and outrage. Vigils and rallies were organized, the collective voices demanding justice and calling for sweeping changes to address the deeply entrenched issues. Brielle's story became a rallying cry, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. Over time, her name became synonymous with courage and resilience, inspiring others and becoming a beacon of hope. Brielle's harrowing ordeal is a sobering reminder of the pervasive issues of violence against women in our society. The actions of her attackers were the manifestation of a toxic culture of entitlement and disregard for human dignity. In the aftermath, we must confront these issues head-on, fostering a culture of empathy, understanding, and commitment to justice, empowering survivors to drive change. Only through cultivating compassion and accountability can we break the cycles of violence and oppression. Her story is a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. As we honor her legacy, let us be inspired to create a world where such atrocities are not merely condemned, but actively prevented, where every individual can live with dignity and have their voice heard. Brielle's harrowing journey confronts us with the harsh reality of human cruelty, but her story stands as a testament to the indomitable power of the human spirit. Her unwavering resilience and determination have inspired us all, becoming a rallying cry and beacon of hope that even the most devastating tragedies can transform into catalysts for profound change. As we honor Brielle's legacy, let us strive to cultivate a culture of empathy, understanding, and commitment to justice, where the voices of survivors are heard, amplified, and empowered to shape the change that is so desperately needed. We invite you, our audience, to join us in this vital mission. Subscribe to our channel, like and share this video, and help us amplify the stories of resilience, courage, and the unwavering human spirit that have the power to inspire and transform. Together, we can build a world where the scourge of violence against women is consigned to the dustbin of history, and where the pursuit of justice, healing, and empowerment becomes a shared responsibility for all.